Hi, I'm Matt Watts, and welcome to another episode of What's the Future, this one called AI in the Wild. I'm absolutely fascinated as to some of the opportunities that companies are finding as they start to look for the use cases around AI. So in this episode, we're going to talk to NVIDIA about how they're starting to see companies use AI. We're also going to talk to our own Octavian Tanasi, our Senior Vice President of Engineering, to talk about how NetApp are finding use cases for it as well. This won't be a gradual change. This will be a complete technology overhaul. We've seen the use of ChatGPT go from a few 100,000 users to over 100 million users in less than 2 months. With that level of democratization of AI, now everybody considers themselves to be an expert. Many companies have taken the extraordinary measure of banning ChatGPT whilst they start to work out the risks of making sure they're not exposing corporate secrets or personally sensitive data. By 2030, the investment into the AI market will be almost $2 trillion. That's 3 times the size of the airline industry. Let's hear more from NVIDIA.
I think AI is going to be the biggest transformation that we've seen in our lifetime. AI has been around since the 1950s. The reality is we've not been able to harness it because we haven't had the technology that allows us to do it easily. We need computing power. We need storage. We need very fast storage. We need very fast network to move the data back and forth. Bringing all that together is hard. And what we've done with NetApp is we have built solutions that are tested and ready-made that we can roll in to data centers all around the world to get companies started on their AI journey. The conversations we're now having with enterprises is how do I enable the enterprise to deploy AI for dozens of different applications, whether it's customer service, whether it's fraud detection, whether it's retail monitoring. We're seeing finance, we're seeing energy, we're seeing healthcare adopting generative AI, and they're doing it en masse. One of the things that we are keenly aware of here at NVIDIA is that the industry focus is key. OpenAI enabled Microsoft to embed artificial intelligence into their suite of Office products. It enabled Microsoft to embed artificial intelligence into their search engine, Bing. And that is what's transformative. Again, it's not the recipes, it's not the haikus that you can write with it. It's the fact that the enterprise class product set now becomes much more attractive. However, many enterprises are looking to build their own tools. So there's a lot of companies out there, including NVIDIA, that are offering foundational models on which you could build your own ChatGPT-like applications around your domain-specific data sets and for your very specific use cases. Data is paramount. So having the ability to store the data and move the data in and out of that compute is extremely important, and that is the crux of our relationship with NetApp. We've been doing this for many years together. We firmly believe that companies that start with artificial intelligence will continue to evolve. The velocity will pick up, the number of applications will continue to grow, and we're just at the very front end of a very exciting journey.
So I wanted to learn a little bit about what generative AI means to somebody who's in the business and is running a team that could actually benefit from it. So I hooked up with Octavian Tanasi, who's the SVP of Product Engineering at NetApp. So Octavian, what is it that excites you most about generative AI?
So there are a couple of things that come to mind. Number one, making our engineers more productive. The second has to do with helping our engineers learn. So if you think what software engineers do, a lot of times they learn from somebody who's their senior, somebody that it's more accomplished in their craft. Well, guess what? Now all of a sudden everybody has access to a very smart engineer. It may come into a form of a generative AI module, either ChatGPT or something that an enterprise will deploy within their infrastructure.
If you had to list a couple of maybe the top concerns that you have around generative AI, what would you sort of suggest those might be?
Well, I believe that my concerns are probably shared in the industry, and they have to do with the risk. And one is, hey, are you going to maintain copyright for some of the work that you're doing that is assisted by generative AI? And second, are you going to use generative AI in a responsible and secure fashion? Right, so we are addressing both of these concerns by using secure endpoints, by deploying also internal large language models that could be augmented and trained on some of our proprietary data and technology.
And what's the future?
Well, the future, it's exciting, and that's mostly because people innovate, and they can innovate with a lot more pace, with a lot more focus, by employing generative AI. I believe that the use of generative AI will be ubiquitous in our industry, and the companies that are not able to ride this wave will, fundamentally not be able to compete in the future.
So what's the future? You've seen some of the huge opportunities that we can unlock through the use of AI, but there's some things that we need to take care of. We're going to have to work out how do we get the right data to the right people so that we can tap into the massive compute power that's required to exploit these opportunities. We're going to have to think about how we do this in a sustainable way with the growing volumes of compute and storage that we're going to need. And we're also going to have to think very carefully about security. And we'll cover that in a future episode.